So anthropology and the state. I mean, my background is in political anthropology and also South Africa, so a bit of an outsider in regards to the Arctic focus. But what really interests me with this project is the relationship between politics and domestication, and particularly how the state has always been thought as such an integral part of domestication. And what we are working on here, amongst many other things, is a sort of a twofold kind of relationship. Both how anthropology or the state has been thought in relationship to domestication, i.e. what has it done to our idea about domestication, what domestication is, that it has always been linked so much to state formation. Because we know from ethnographic materials and a lot of examples throughout the world that you have domestication processes without state formation. That's a number of examples of that. On the other side, it's also quite interesting to see what this has done to our idea of the state. If you can have states without domestication processes, what does that say about them? And I think one of the most important things that we need to look at is that you have state formations and these kind of political formations without necessarily having the line from what we used to think of as primitive through domestication and then onto so-called advanced capitalist societies, and later on the Anthropocene, which many people mention as a possibility now. So this kind of close connection between politics, domestication and state formation, and capitalism and global change, environmental change in a way, is one of the things that I find most interesting at CAS. So one example of this that sort of goes again the grain of industrial domestication and state formation is so wild nature was used in South Africa as a state formation process, for instance. Rather than making, when your standard story of domestication was important as well, that you had huge cattle and sheep ranches. But one important way of building the post-1910 South African state was to create wilderness areas. Also by trying to domesticate wilderness in a sense, creating landscapes and environments and animals that were held out as a kind of a pre-colonial reality, a wilderness, but created through domestication practices. So there, in that instance, you do have domestication practices that are not meant to further domestication as such, but create states through ideas of wilderness rather than industrial domestication.